Hello and welcome again. My neighbors are blasting music, and I'm going to be trying something I saw on Kim's Talisman. I'll make sure I link his channel. It's a video called "This One Trick Will Change How You Varnish Forever." And honestly, considering where I live, I've had trouble with varnishing for a while. So we're going to take a couple of these guys I've worked on the past, and this Death Guard guy, and we're going to give them a little bit of varnish. So I'm going to show you the two varnishes I'm going to try this method with. I'm going to use this Deco Art Duraclear Satin Varnish. This is a 8 fluid ounce or 236 milliliter bottle. And this Mecha Varnish. I like this one because it's matte, but it has a slight degree of a satiny look. And it's about 200 milliliters, so you can get an idea how those are. I paid $8 for this one, by the way. So first things first, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be mixing it with my own private, or at least I'm going to call it that, mix of contrast medium. An older guy taught me how to do this. I don't know if other people do it this way. If you want to know how I did it, just let me know in the comments, and I will tell you. So first off, we're going to pull the camera up a little bit, and just badly do that. Okay, glad it leaned to the right when I did that. Anyways, and what we're going to do is we're going to, in these two containers, we're going to take a little bit. We're going to put a little bit of that in there. This is the matte from Mecha Varnish, and what we're going to do is we're going to put about the same amount of the contrast medium in there. We'll add a couple more drops. And we're going to go ahead and just mix that together. Now, depending on what you're doing, this can go a bunch of different ways. The reasons to varnish are pretty simple if you don't know what they are, but it's mostly to protect these miniatures once you've painted them and have them be effectively a little bit better situated. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to get kind of sloppy with it. And what I'm going to come in is I'm going to pick up that excess. And we're going to go ahead and get all of these hit up. And we're just going to be fairly generous. We just want to get that in there. And honestly, you don't want to be too concerned. You don't want it to pool, but you also don't want to not get it on there. Now the thing is, with this mix, from my understanding of it, is it helps it go into the recesses and flow a little bit better with the contrast medium. And we'll see how that works, especially since I'm being very sloppy at the moment. I do apologize. We're just going to pick it up like you would any other contrast and just move it to wherever we need it at the moment. We'll just go back in, get some more, put it in there. We're not going to be too precious about it. I mean, it is a Nurgle model after all. If you're new to it, there's a ton of different videos out there you can check about how to appropriately varnish a model, or to the do's and don'ts, all of that fun stuff. I'm not going to bore you with that because, honestly, I am not an expert in the field of varnish. I generally do not like doing varnishing, and it's not because I think there's anything innately wrong with it. It's more that, personally, I just don't feel that I'm very good at being able to decide what is good and what isn't. And it's all down to preference, honestly. We are just going to get it on there, and I'm going to try to keep it in shot. And honestly, it's about protecting. If we need to strip him down, we will. He's a Death Guard. He's not going to want us to be. In fact, the dirtier, probably the better on his part. But, only listen to him so much. So we'll go ahead and hit him the rest of the way. And honestly, I'm only showing this on there for the people who might not do any varnishing. why would you not varnish? Well, if you're going to have a display model, there are several reasons, because you wouldn't want your paint job to be dimmed or messed with. You want the colors to, as one of the guys I used to know would say, ring true. And that is a good way to ensure that it does. Again, this is going to look a little odd, especially because some of this is a bit, what's the best way to put it? It has this kind of a whitish quality. That's not a problem. If you're too worried about it, just don't worry about it too much. Okay, so we'll put him to the side, and then we're going to take this guy. And we're going to do a similar thing. We're going to take a little container. We're going to just go ahead and preload that on there, because I know about how much I'm going to end up with. We're going to take that and go ahead. This one counts a little bit easier. And we're going to go ahead and take a different brush. We don't want to contaminate it. Oh my lord, I can't speak. You do want to do a little bit of mixing. And you're going to want it to get in mixed up pretty well. So it looks something like this. And then we're going to take our model. Again, we're not being too precious with the models, though we don't want that stray hair to get on there. And we're just going to come in and hit it up. Now I'm using two different brushes. Normally when I'd be sitting down to do a full varnishing, I would just use one brush, because I want it to be fairly even overall when it comes down to it. And you're going to get similar results with a same brush. And again, we don't want to be too overly precious. Now, you don't want it to pull up super bad in some areas, but you also don't want to be too concerned about every single thing. We'll go ahead and hit up the ground too, just to get a bit of a better feel for it. Also, we're going to be putting some other stuff on this for him, so we might as well hit it up. And for the last guy, I'm just going to do something weird, because honestly, why not try something, you know? We're going to put these two mixes together, and we're just going to make sure that gets stirred real quick. So, third guy here, he's got a mix of both. We'll see how that goes, honestly. I haven't got a shield on hand at the moment, but hey, you know, whatever. These guys, you know, they were an experiment, so we might as well proceed on our experimentation, am I right? Anyhow, let's just go ahead and get that on there. Now, this guy is a good example of what I was saying when it comes to don't let it pull up. You take the brush, you get some of that off, you come in, you dab up the excess. Now, you should move that excess to other areas if they haven't been hit up, but in this case, we're just going to move it completely off the model. We don't want it to get, like, to clog up the details. We don't want it to make the model look kind of odd. So we're just going to come in, hit up some of those areas. Again, he's going to have varnish on him, so we don't have to be too worried about it being obscenely thick in there. And we'll just make sure we got it around the helmet. And there we go. Well, we might hit the base too. Give him one whole thing there. Again, we don't want to be too precious with the models, as the camera slides the whole damn video. Oh, yeah. Alright, we'll be back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. So, we've got those guys varnished, and I'm sorry about the camera. The rig was giving out. I managed to catch the camera. I'm not going to take it out. I want you guys to see all that, and, well, here is the finished products. Now, you can see a bit of a sheen off him, and this is one of the reasons I liked the Mecha Varnish matte, because as a very subtle sheen, and it maintains a lot of the metallics. Now, you might not necessarily want that, but let's go ahead and just give him a quick look. Now, what did I think of having that contrast medium, or contrast air quote medium in there? I actually quite liked it. It helped the sections get a fairly even distribution of the varnish. It was very easy to work with, and honestly, it looks very, very good in my opinion. This is one of my early painted models when I was messing with the Def Guard. I can tell you how I did it, but it's basically Skarsnik green over an imperfect white primer. I did a stippling motion with the whole thing, but he's the guy that we did in our Mega Varnish, which is matte, but it's got a slight hint of satin. All right, let's go to the next guy. This is in our Deco Art Satin. Now, he does look wet in the camera, especially the light, and he is very kind of shiny. A little bit more shiny than I thought he would be, but on the bright side, the metallics look really, really good. I will give it that. And I think if you get the Deco Arts, you might as well go in and get the matte. And then what I would do is I do one pass with this, especially if you have a lot of metallics like a knight, hit the whole model up, and then when I'd come in with the matte varnish, put it in a mixture with the contrast medium equal to it, and hit up the fabric parts, and I think it looked really, really good. And let's, while we're at it, talk about this guy. Now, actually, I kind of liked the mixture of the two varnishes together. You get the metallics looking like metallics. The cloth has a little bit more brightness to it and a little bit of a reflection, but it's not overwhelming. And I was able to put it on really easy. And honestly, if I want to come in and hit a matte on the colors, I think it'd be very, very easy. And you can maintain a slight satiny look while the metallics look correct. Let's compare these two real quick. Try to do a little spin around. You can see the difference in the reflection right there. So I think if you want, you could literally add a little bit of the, especially the matte with the satin, and have a pretty nice overall varnish. You'd have to experiment, but this was an interesting one. So I gotta give it to Kim. He had a really interesting idea. Even if I don't use the Deco Art, I'm going to now be using this, adding my contrast medium to the varnish. So I had to thank him for this. And hey guys, let me know. Are you going to be adding stuff or varnish to your, are you going to add contrast medium to your varnishes? What do you think? Are you going to try it out? And hey, have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.